I'm Robin with Oxy-Dry, and I'm doing a pretty big job here today. I already cleaned the bedroom, master bedroom, and closet upstairs, and an area rug, and here I am downstairs. This is a olefin Berber. I guess you'd call it a textured Berber, and I'm doing this area too, just around the bed, and this family room. I'll be doing the steps too in a bit, and this hallway, and a bedroom in here, and down here, and this room, and surprisingly large area down here. You wouldn't expect it looking at the house from the front, but apparently all these houses in this little complex, she says they all are very big. So anyway, I vacuumed every inch of it. Overall the carpet is in excellent condition, really. It's about 15 years old, but there's no visible soiling, at least downstairs. There was a little bit in the master bedroom upstairs. She'd had it steam cleaned about a year ago, and you could see it had done some wicking and streaking, and so I went over that and it came out no problem at all. Looks wonderful. And down here there's no visible soiling at all, except right in front of that doorway over there. So I did a little I just sprayed it with some all rug, and we'll be getting into that in a minute. And I'm using Nanomax 1 ounce per gallon, and I'm using a two-way pad here. I don't usually use a two-way pad, but where it is the right choice, it's where I will use it. And on this type of carpet, in the condition that it's in, it's the right choice, I think, because it is cleaning really well. And I will use the two-way pads whenever I can, because they're synthetic. They're actually rayon, I think, blended with a polyester fiber. I'm not completely positive about that, but I think they are. But they do last the longest of any of the pads. And they were my main finishing pad for many years, until the microfibers and the Iron Man came along. So I certainly have used them a lot over the years. I actually still have a lot of them. But they're an excellent choice. And as I've mentioned before about them, they are a good pad to have on hand for the right circumstances. So, and this is one. And you can see that although this carpet really isn't very soiled at all, it is brightening up as I'm going over with the two-way and applying just a little bit of solution. This carpet I will not need to post vacuum, and the reason I post vacuum, by the way, for those of you who are not realizing why it's done, is I'm not post vacuuming to remove any encapsulator. It won't happen because it hasn't even fully dried yet anyway. The purpose of the post vacuuming is almost in every case to just to groom the carpet, just to straighten it out and just lift the pile, because the cleaning will lay the pile one way, and then the other way as it lifts and separates the yarn. But in this case, because it is such a what am I looking for? It's a harder yarn because it's an olefin, and it's a low pile twist to it, very low loop. It's not going to require to have the post grooming done to it, so which means that this job will take a little faster than normal. As well, I'm only doing a single stage or single step, so again, that makes it a little bit faster than I typically do, which is nice. nice when I run into those jobs where, you know, it's just everything works out. But that's not every job by any means, but once in a while. And this is my last job of the day, so, and it's actually the bigger job, so that's nice. So I'm very seriously considering doing a change, a big change. My Uplander van, which is a 2008, pardon me, I replaced the transmission, brand new factory, OEM factory transmission about just over a year ago, because obviously the original one, which had gone 160,000 miles, had blew the torque converter out. So it went a good long way before it failed. But and I replaced it. That was the end of a 2-year sort of run of big expenses that I'd had on that van. I replaced, what else did I replace there? Well, I think it started off with valve cover gaskets and oil pan gasket. That's $1,000 for each of those jobs or more, because they have to, it's just so hard to get at these vehicles, get at the motor. They have to practically lift the motor out to get at the oil pan gasket, and even the valve cover gaskets are awkward to get at, and so the labor is what really gets you on these things. I replaced, what else did I replace? The radiator and the water pump, and well, anyway, a few other things. And anyway, that all added up to, in a period of about 2 years, I had spent about $15,000 on the van. And I can assure you, I wondered whether I should do that or not. But that was before the tranny went. Pretty much before the tranny went. So, and all told, over that 2-year period of time, actually added up to, with the tranny, about almost $20,000. But you know, the vehicle breaks, and what do? You got to get it fixed. So I've had a lot of things that went wrong with it in the last 2 or 3 years, and then last week, the tranny, my new tranny, broke a band on my way to my first job, and so that was a unexpected and disappointing thing. So it's had to go back to the dealer because it was under warranty, fortunately. Oh, hello, kitty cat. That's where you hide, eh? She told me there was a couple of cats in here. So anyway, it's at the dealer. I've had to rent a full-size van, a U-Haul or whatever, I guess it is. And they didn't have the part required to fix it immediately, so I've been driving this thing for about a week, not quite a week, and hopefully it'll be back on the road tomorrow. Tomorrow will be Friday. And anyway, the whole thing has made me really think that maybe it is time. I mean, yes, I've spent a lot of money on my van, and one could argue that you might as well keep using it. You spent that much money on it, but the problem is, I'm going to drop this thing. It's really, really heavy. Hang on a sec. Hang on a sec. This is like the heaviest couch ever. Okay. Make sure I line up on the feet marks. Try this. Okay, here we go. I mean, seriously, this is like a seriously heavy couch. Ooh. And did I land up in the feet? I think so. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So, anyway, I've been thinking about maybe that it's just a, pardon me, maybe it's just time. I find my the Uplander very comfortable, and I'm obviously very used to it. It is a very comfortable vehicle, and with a V6 in it, it has great power for you know, out on the highway or whatever. Although one of the things that is on my mind is that I'm actually doing a lot less highway driving now, since I no longer go to Vernon, which is about a 45-minute drive north of where I live in Kelowna. So I only go to Vernon now for my commercial jobs. I don't do any residential work there anymore. So anyway, I'm really thinking about that maybe it's time just to bite the bullet and plunk down 30 grand or whatever it'll be. I'm not sure what it'll be yet. Depends on which one I get too. And I'd always had my eye on the Ford Transit Connect. I like the way it looks, but every time I go and read reviews, yeah, I find that I read 3 or 4 or 5 really good reviews and then a disastrous review, and that's pretty concerning. One of the things that I've seen more than one time is somebody who's had one getting it repaired at the dealer for the, you know, 3rd or 4th time for the same thing, and then they had parts on order and things just weren't available right away, and they're stuck without a vehicle. And that's definitely not a scenario I want to see happen for myself. Anyway, and the Dodge one, again, same idea, where it just seems like they have great reviews and then a terrible review, and it's, let's grab the wire there. Okay. So, yeah, that concerns me, you know, that one of the things we always look for in a vehicle is its reliability, obviously. And, you know, when I read the reviews of a vehicle that somebody spent $30,000 or $40,000 for, and, you know, they've had it 6 months or a year, and now it's sitting at the dealer waiting for some critical part, and the dealer didn't bother stocking it. Well, that's not very inspiring. Anyway, I already, the other one, of course, is the Nissan, and I've actually mostly been quite dismissive of it, partly because to me it almost looks like it might be too small, but maybe it's not. Maybe it just appears that way. I really got to go and measure it and compare to at least the back with what my Uplander is like. I know that it's only 6 feet from the back door to where the bulkhead would go on the Nissan. And by the way, did you notice that spot disappeared just like that? Just like that. Gone. Just got to mention that. So, the Nissan one is actually in the running. I've heard some negative things about the CVT transmission for sure, but I'm wondering if maybe that's an issue that has been resolved now. But I also know that these other vehicles have issues with their transmissions. It seems like these car manufacturers really have a real problem getting their act together when it comes to their automatic transmissions. So, but the Nissan does come with a 100,000 mile bumper-to-bumper warranty. Now I got to take a good look at that. I haven't really, actually read it yet, but I'm assuming that the transmission is covered by that. And if that's the case, well, okay. If there was a problem, then they'd have to fix it. So that puts it back in the running, and now I just need to take a look at the size. It does have really good gas mileage ratings, although the gas mileage between the three of them is pretty similar, so I don't think it's that critical. My van has actually dropped in the last few years. The gas mileage, I got a gauge right on the front on the dashboard, and my gas mileage now around the city is pretty consistently about 15 miles per gallon, and that's actually not that great. And the Nissan is rated, I think it's 25 miles per gallon. So that's a fairly big difference, although, well, it won't make a huge difference, but over a year, it'll certainly be hundreds and hundreds of dollars of difference. The only other thing that is sort of bothering me a little bit about it is it only has 131 horsepower. So it definitely won't have the power that my Uplander does, but for driving around the city, that may not really be, maybe it won't even be noticeable. So these are all the things that are in my mind. I know that there are some guys out there that are using the Nissan. I know Paul at Washington Pro Carpet Cleaning has one and he likes it, so maybe he'll chime in on the comments, some thoughts about it. But these are big investments that we make when it comes to the vehicle, and I'm not going to buy a used vehicle, because I know that no matter what you buy used, I mean, you just end up with, well, used vehicle problems. And at least with a new one, it will have as good a warranty as you can get, and you don't get that with a used one. And I don't think these vans are really all that expensive, considering what kind of monies they can make for you. I don't think I went behind that door, did I? I can't remember now. Oh, yes, I did. I remember now. I remember what it looked like. Okay, so we're going to go this way. Yep. So I'm really seriously considering. Well, I'm going to do it one way or the other. I'm going to buy one of them. It's not a matter of me. It's not really a monetary concern really at this point, because one way or the other I'm spending money. I've been spending just an awful lot of money just keeping my Uplander, and my concern is I get it back and I'm driving it around, and then the next big thing happens. And at this point, I haven't actually touched. I have not yet even had any repairs done on the motor at all, other than the water pump. And I know that that's going to change. And you know, if I have a sudden catastrophic fail of the motor, you know, suddenly I need a head job or whatever. I mean, even doing heads on these things, it's not like it used to be. I mean, they're just ridiculously expensive to repair these vehicles now. And I think that some are less expensive to fix than others because of the way they're laid out. And I think that the Uplander, because it has a V6, it's really crammed into the engine compartment. And so to do even simple things, they often have to literally move the motor. I had the master cylinder replaced about, I guess it was 3 years or 4 years ago. I think 3 years ago. And that was a $1,400 job. I mean, you think, well, how could it be that much? Master cylinder is right there on the at the back of the engine compartment. Oh, well, yes, it is, but unfortunately, because of the way that the motor is sitting in there and where the master cylinder is, the only way to get at it, to remove it and to put it back in, is it has to come up from underneath. I mean, literally, you have to bring that master cylinder up from below in order to get it up to where it goes up at the top. That's crazy. But, and they have to move the, I'll move this forward a bit here. Yeah. They have to actually disengage the motor mounts and shift the motor. That's what they had to do in order to fit the master cylinder up between the engine and the firewall. And on the book it was I think it was the book set was like a 5-hour job or something like that. I mean, I don't suppose it actually took them that long, but that's how they rated that. So, or maybe it was even longer than that. I can't remember now. It was, but the whole job ended up being like $1,400. I think I don't think the part was all that much money. I think it was maybe it was $600 or $800 for the master cylinder. But anyway, that. They had to do the same thing when they replaced the oil pan gasket. The motor had to be disengaged from the motor mounts and then lifted up because it's sitting on the cross member. It's just crazy. So I'm hoping that maybe if I was to buy the Nissan with its 4-cylinder motor, that it would be engineered to at least be easier to work on and less expensive on the labor end of things. And I did see one article that was talking about the cost of maintenance of it, and it didn't look like it was very expensive to maintain. But anyway, who knows? I mean, no matter what you drive, you got to spend money. But I guess if I'm going to spend, say I spend $30,000 over the next, 3 or 4 years, assuming I make payments on it, which I may or may not do, I don't know. But anyway, at the moment I've spent $20,000 on my Uplander, and when I get it back tomorrow or tonight or whenever I get it back, for all I know, next week I may have to be looking at replacing the motor for $5,000 or whatever ridiculous amount that'll be. I need to shift this back now where it was. So I think, am I there yet? Oh, there it is. Okay. Yeah, there we go. Anyway, so that's the dilemma that we do run across when we're running our business. You know, we're trying to be wise in how we spend our money, and we need these tools because the vehicle is a tool that you use, and there's a lot of factors to think about, and yeah, that's and they are expense, but mind you, it's an expense that is a write-off, so there's that. When I bought my Uplander, by the way, 2008, I went like 3 or 4 years before I did anything to it, and then I guess it was the first brake job. And it, by the way, I go through a set of brakes in my Uplander about every 2 or 3 years. Yeah, in fact, I just replaced the brakes. That's one thing, it really uses brakes. I think that it's being really a passenger vehicle that they made into a commercial vehicle by just taking the interior out. I would guess that it just has, you know, it has brakes that aren't really rated heavy duty. They work pretty well, but I guess they're just not heavy duty brakes, and I assume that these commercial vehicles that are purpose built as commercial vehicles would have better wearing brakes in them. I hope so, anyway. And anyway, so those are the things that I'm thinking about. And I know some guys like what they call the ProMaster, and some guys like the Ford, and you know, some guys like the Nissan. So, but I will weigh out the pros and cons of all three of those and make my decision. But I do like the 100,000 mile warranty on the Nissan. That is attractive. That's maybe one of the significant advantages it has. So, and apparently, although I haven't looked at too many reviews yet, almost all the reviews I've seen seem to be quite favorable for it. And not very many people are complaining about the transmission, and some are saying they've gone 100,000 miles and never touched the transmission. So anyway, we'll see. I haven't made up my mind yet, so anybody got any insight into that you want to put in the comments? Any thoughts on what you think is a better choice? I'm willing to consider. I've got maybe a couple of weeks I'm going to think about it, I think, and then we'll go from there. So, and anyway, in the meantime, I'm pretty much finished this job, and it's cleaning up really well, looking beautiful, and I just have to do the steps next, and then I'll be done. So I'm going to let you go, and have a good day.